This dog was on the euthanasia list in California. And when the rescue reached out, they weren't just asking for help, they were desperate. He needed to be in a rescue program immediately, or his time had run out. If you're new here, my channel is usually about fostering cats. I work closely with the rescue in a volunteer capacity, and most of the animals I help are cats coming out of shelters. But sometimes an animal comes along who doesn't fit neatly into the usual setup, and that's exactly what happened with William. William had already been pulled from a California shelter where he was at risk of being euthanized. In fact, he was on the euthanasia list because his back leg is severely injured and he's still intact. After his rescue, it became clear that he is very anxious and could not live safely in a home with other dogs or cats. This was a serious problem. Foster homes with no other animals are rare, and time was not on his side. The rescue reached out asking if I could temporarily step in, not because I was the perfect foster, but because I was available. They needed somewhere quiet, somewhere neutral, and somewhere to buy him time. So even though I foster cats, and even though I live in a really small apartment, I said yes. This is William. He's a Doberman. And if you know the breed, you know they are high energy, highly intelligent working dogs. They thrive with structure, space, training, and mental stimulation. Almost immediately, it was clear that my home wasn't equipped for that. Not because he was bad, but because his needs were specific. And as you can see, he is a shadow personified or dogified. I had William for about 5 hours, and during that time, I could see his anxiety building. He was alert, he was pacing, his eyes were wide and frantic. He was just trying to work something out with no job to do. He did end up finding some of my cat toys, and that posed as a fun challenge for a short time. But in a small apartment, without the ability to meet those working breed needs, it wasn't fair to him, and recognizing that quickly was important. Even though I couldn't keep him long term, those 5 hours matter because they gave the rescue time. They gave it time to advocate, time to search for a more appropriate foster, and ultimately to keep him out of the shelter system. Sometimes fostering isn't about being the final stop. Sometimes it's about being a pause button. There's something that I want to be really clear about. This wasn't a failure, nor was it a return. And most importantly, this definitely wasn't a reflection of William's ability to be adopted. It just was a mismatch. And recognizing a mismatch early is one of the most responsible things you can do in a rescue, but also as a pet owner. Because of the extra time, William was able to stay safe while the rescue continued looking for a foster or an adopter who could truly meet his needs. Someone with no other pets, experience with working breeds that have high anxiety, the space and the structure that William needs, and the kind of environment where a Doberman can actually relax. Not every rescue story looks like a long-term foster or a forever home, and that's okay. I did feel insanely guilty having to contact my foster coordinator and let her know what was going on. However, I have to remind myself that helping doesn't always mean keeping, and sometimes it means stepping in when things are urgent, even if it's uncomfortable, imperfect, or short term. these moments still save lives. I'm glad I said yes, even for those 5 hours, because those 5 hours bought William something priceless, which is time. I would like to address something I know some people are already thinking. Well, they're probably thinking, how can 5 hours really matter? And that's a fair question. But in rescue, time isn't measured the same way it is everywhere else. Sometimes 5 hours is the difference between a dog going back into the shelter system or staying out of it entirely. Those hours gave the rescue space to keep him safe while they searched for a better fit foster. This is also a good moment to talk honestly about breed needs. Dobermans are not low-maintenance dogs. They're working breeds. They are intelligent, driven, and emotionally sensitive. Like I said earlier, they need mental stimulation, physical outlets, which is sniff training, or hide and seek style games with clear structure. And while love matters, love alone isn't enough if the environment cannot support the dog. Recognizing that isn't giving up, it's advocating for the dog. And I'd like to take this time to outline that rescue stories don't always move in straight lines. Sometimes it looks like a shelter, a temporary foster, another foster, and then the right home. Each step matters, even the short ones, especially the short ones. If you're watching this and wondering whether fostering is worth it, if you can't commit long term, it is. Short-term fosters are some of the most needed and hardest to find. They're the safety net when plans fall through. They're the buffer that keeps animals from going back into crisis. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest about what you can offer. I didn't give William a forever home, but I gave something that was important in that moment. I gave him time, I gave him space, and I gave him visibility. It's all about giving a rescue dog a chance to land somewhere that truly fits who he is and what his needs are. And I'd do it again. If you want to help dogs like him, I highly recommend contacting your local rescues. Fosters are always in high demand, especially for working breeds. Because while there are breed-specific rescues, most of these rescues cannot function without a strong network of fosters. I will leave you to enjoy William doing his favorite thing while he was with me, which was chomping on this bully stick.